Hello, Earth signs. I am so excited to be doing this reading for you guys today, and I'm going to be doing a little crystal reading. I'm also going to be using my modern tarot deck, which I'm really excited for. So let's go ahead and get started. When I was picking out a crystal for everyone today, I ended up picking up Moonkite, and Moonkite is actually, I learned more about this actually from an indigenous trauma specialist, which was really interesting. She let me know that this is a really important stone to indigenous people, and they see it as a really sacred healing stone. And now I'm going to kind of give some information about what I personally know about it, because I don't want to just backpack off the information that they gave to me, but I did want to note that. And so to me, at least, Moonkite is a very, very healing stone, but also a stone that's really associated with the earth. And so for my earth signs, this is a stone that really, really complements you. It brings out the best in you, and it really brings out this like natural energy that you got going. I will say there's kind of this energy around this month that kind of feels like there will be situations that where things aren't either coming naturally to you, or there will be situations where you just don't feel like it aligns, but you're trying to force it to for whatever that reason may be. Maybe it's under physical circumstances, maybe it's, to match like the vision of like what your family expects of you. Maybe it's because you're like, oh, well, I have to stay here because maybe you feel a bit stuck. Earth signs are really bad for that. Is like we kind of feel like when we get in this environment, we feel really stuck, and we get kind of really when we're in our element, we know it and we thrive, but when we don't feel like we're in our element, it can really get the best of us. So a couple things with this stone that comes up is to, one, watch when this comes up, especially over this next month where you feel like things aren't really vibing with you, like it doesn't really match your energy and you're trying to force it to make it work, but we're kind of, I'm saying we because I'm also included in these earth signs. It's like us earth signs, we're kind of stubborn that way, but almost in a good way. I want to at least be in denial and say that it's in a good way, is that we know what we want and we know when things are naturally flowing. So we can't really pretend that something's flowing when it's not, or we can't pretend we're aligned with something when we know it's not, no matter how hard we try. But the biggest thing I can say to us this month is to really align with things that truly feel good to you and truly benefit you, whether that's your workspace, your friendships, relationships, your home. Like, if you know something isn't vibing with you, you have to take the steps to set the boundaries and make new space from whatever's not working, kind of release it and make new space to go towards things, relationships, work opportunities, people that are going to align with you. So that's really watch for personal relationships and the work area of life this month. And it's not to say that like you just like leave your job. I'm saying there might be aspects of your job where your boundaries are being crossed, or things aren't like moving for you. So it's important for you to say, okay, I understand this isn't what I want or I need. What do I want? What do I need? And I think a lot of times we get really fixated in being like, well, this doesn't align with us, and so we just remove ourselves, when we have to ask the important question of, if this doesn't align with us, what would we like to give our energy towards instead? So that is the big question for this month. Really trying to get out in nature with this stone. If you're feeling a little bit trapped, or you're feeling like you're needing some healing, just spending some time in the natural realm, whether that's spending some more time with trees, crystals, by some water. Water is a really big aspect right now because we are in the hazel tree lunar cycle. So this is an important time to be honoring your emotions, kind of working with the land and like healing through the land, which is really important. And also giving back to the land. Whenever we feel like we're healing through the land, we also have to do our part in that relationship to give back to her. So whether that's, planting a tree or planting a seed, or helping giving nutrients back to the earth, whatever that looks like. It can even be composting. It can be anything that you feel like gives back to the earth. It's like working in this relationship, and I guarantee also when you give back to the earth within this relationship, you also begin to feel healed yourself. So I'm going to jump into pulling some cards for my earth signs. We're going to be using the modern tarot deck, and I am so excited. This is one of my favorite decks. I've been working through a lot. This card just shot out. Okay. I really feel like there's going to be a couple cards in here that's really important for my earth signs. I feel like We all just need a little bit of clarity. What's going on with the earth? I'm trying to feel where it is in the deck. I feel like it's kind of somewhere in this pile. I feel like it's almost like, okay, earth signs. No. I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys can see me shuffling. I feel like it's this one. So let's find out what we got pulled here. So I'm gonna go in order of what I picked up. That is so interesting. I always make sure that my cards are right side up. So when something pops up upside down, I'm like, that's a sign. So the first card we got was actually Strength reversed. And I think a lot of people get freaked out when cards are reversed. It's not a bad thing. It's usually just an indication of something you already know, whether that's surface level or deep down. And usually it's an indicator of some sort of delay or anxiety, kind of something that's stopping you from like feeling this natural flow of life. So I was kind of saying that when I started shuffling, where I was like, I feel that we all need some clarity. I feel like we kind of need this light at the end of the tunnel, and Hazel, lunar energy, will definitely give us that. We are in that cycle right now. So if you've kind of been waiting for this light at the end of the tunnel, it is here. But however, because Strength came up upside down, I feel like almost like it feels delayed. Like we have this light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. There's like, we're starting to kind of see this like light we've been chasing in this tunnel for a long time. But there's some delay, and it feels almost like it is a part of our stubbornness. I know that's such a cliche with earth signs. However, it does feel like there's almost something that we're so fixated on, and we can't release our need to just we can't release our expectations. So thus it's kind of making things more difficult. Like we were like, okay, we're going to find the light at the end of the tunnel through, let's say, getting this job or moving here or reaching this point in my finances. It's like we're so fixated on like where this happiness is going to derive from that we aren't actually letting go and just releasing it, like our expectations, because that when you release and like go with the flow of life, that is when we're going to thrive. And when we release this stubbornness and we actually see that this happiness is usually exists in something that's not our goals. So how do I explain this? It's almost like the second we are fixated on our goals as a source of our happiness, that's actually guaranteed that it will not make you happy, because you're already basing it in an external place that doesn't exist. It's like we've created in our minds. It's our minds being like, I won't be happy until, let's say, I reach this point in my financial journey. I reach this point in this relationship. I move, etc. And then we kind of get discouraged when, it either doesn't work out or it does work out. And then we're already like, it doesn't fulfill that happiness, right? Because we've based it in something external versus realizing that happiness exists in this moment. And I know that sounds like a cliche as well, but it's basically to say that like we need to look around us. We need to be tapping into the moment, being like, okay, this isn't flowing for me. What would flow better? Okay, let's doing this. Kind of what Eckhart Tolle says, doing the task for the task's sake, which basically means to like connect to the moment. If you're doing something you don't really like, kind of just trying to stay present and getting the task done versus getting so fixated on like, this task makes me happy, this task makes me upset. It's almost like an act of surrendering. And I really guarantee that once we release these expectations of where our happiness is going to derive from, we start to see it all around us. It's this very like, kind of like the moon kite. It's like this earth state of mind where we start seeing gratitude. We're like, okay, the sun is out. This flower is so beautiful. I saw this bird hanging out and it was super cute. There's, the blue skies, and all these things start really making us be filled with joy and gratitude. And even though it's kind of maybe not what our ego had told us of where the happiness is going to exist, we start to notice it all around us. And so that light at the end of the tunnel isn't what we expected it to be, but it's everything we needed it to be. So once again, just if you notice that you're kind of doing that, where you're like, there's this light at the end of the tunnel, just have to achieve this first in order to feel happy. I just need to achieve this in order to do this. It's like, no, you don't. You have everything you need and you want right now. However, it's like you have everything right now that, I'm sure there's areas in your life right now of things you have that yourself like 10 years ago or a month ago or whatever would be so proud of. But because you keep basing your happiness on this like future goal, that's not like leading to happiness in the moment. And being able to be happy in the moment is an act of presence and an act of gratitude, an act of, especially that you can find with connecting to the earth and connecting to the land. So just being mindful of that when you notice that you're setting, it's great to have goals. I'm not saying that's a problem. Set some intentions during this time. It is a powerful time to be doing so. However, saying that your goals are what is you can't be happy until you do this. You can't do this creative project until you do this. You can't take that course or take that class until you do this. It's like, no, you can do that now. It might not be in the exact same way you expected. Maybe you have to find a more accessible resource to you. You know what I mean? It's like, but you can do it now. But I think there's this cycle of like, we keep putting off things to the future when really all exists right here, right now. And we need to focus on what we can do with our energy now versus basing all our happiness and goals on something external outside of us, if that makes sense. So we have a little bit, I can tell like, the earth signs are really struggling right now. It kind of feels like there's like internal battle. We've been trying to see, when I was shuffling, I was even like, we're looking for some clarity. There's like, this light at the end of the tunnel we've been trying to get to for so long, and it's there. Like this strength card is like ultimate Leo season card, and it's also just like the ultimate card of literal strength. Like we've been so resilient, and we're like, okay, I've been resilient, I've been strong. Like where's the results? Where's these tangible results at? But we got the Seven of Swords as our next card, which to me is just an indicator of almost like we're trying to carry so much, and we're almost like carrying so much weight, and then we're looking around us and we're also seeing like, more that we have to carry. It's almost like we're in this, the earth signs are in this stage of feeling like we have to carry everyone else's problems, or we have to carry all these different weights of the world. And so like, as you can see in this card, there's this person, they're carrying all these swords, and then they're like, oh, I still have these two to carry. Like, how am I even going to manage that? Because my hands are already full. And it almost seems like there's kind of like this like natural setting that they're trying to go and take their problems into this natural setting to release them. And then there's kind of these swords that are kind of existing in this more urban setting where there's some houses and stuff. So maybe the earth signs, especially during this time, have been really focused on like physical things and picking up different energies. This is a time to set really, really, I can't emphasize this enough, really strong boundaries in regards to how much information you're accumulating, because especially at this day and age in the internet, you can accumulate every single type of opinion, every single piece of knowledge that in existence at the course of your fingertips. And so we're constantly taking so much in that we don't have the time to practice it. We don't have the time to work through things. We're just taking on this collective trauma. We're taking on this new knowledge, and then we don't know what to put it towards or where. And so the message of this card ultimately is basically saying, like, chill out for a bit so that you can deal with what you have so far and like naturally release things and like start like setting aside more time to actually work with things that are really going to benefit your growth. I'm going to reference this quote, which I've been mentioning a lot lately, which is by Ram Dass, and he says something like, the best thing I can do for you is take care of myself, and the best thing you can do for me is take care of yourself. It's basically saying the best thing we can do for both ourselves and other people in our community is to take care of ourselves, because if we rely on other people, it can get like kind of unstable. But if we focus on our own healing and our own journey, not only are we better towards ourselves and we feel healthier, but we are better community members, so we can be better for other people. So this isn't a people-pleasing time, which is also like very Holly energy. We just finished the Holly cycle, so those kind of lingering questions about people-pleasing is kind of starting to, it's still on the surface, and we really need to start practicing that of like, we can't support other people if we aren't supporting ourselves, right? Because, it becomes really hard, because then we take on all this weight of other people, and then we're disregarding our own personal needs. So here is basically saying, like, set these boundaries. Like, if you feel like you're on your phone and you're taking on too much information, you're talking to friends and they're telling you a lot about, different drama in their life or whatever it is, it's like you're taking on too much. Like, take some space to like process things so that you actually are like doing what you can with the knowledge that you're getting, versus feeling so confused and like you're taking on too many things. Like, once again, it's like you're looking back being like, oh, I'm carrying all this, but like there's a lot I have to carry still too. So like, what do I do? When it's actually like you're in this process of like accumulating too much. So this would be a really good time to watch your phone consumption, watch what kind of things you're talking about with people, especially, friends or family, like anything that kind of adds on your burdens. If your family's giving you opinions about like your work life, or if your friends are telling you a lot about like, some drama that they had with like some of their friends, it's about like listening and validating these people and understanding, but also being like, okay, right now I don't feel like I can be a good support to you, and I want to make sure that the times I'm listening to you, I feel like I can be fully present there. You know what I mean? Or if your family's giving you unsolicited advice about your work or something like that, it's about being like, this isn't really actually helping me, and if I need help in this, I will come to you, right? It's like, this is your time to take care of yourself. And then, once again, a card that freaks people out, but it's not a bad card, and I will explain why. This is actually usually a very, very positive card. It's just an uncomfortable card, and it is death. And basically what I think this represents, and I love this interpretation because there's kind of like a flower up here. So I will give my interpretation of death regarding the land. So when you see composting happen, is that a negative thing? No, it's not. The same way with death, composting and death is about the same type of energy. So let's compare the two. So, for example, when a plant dies, does it just die and then dissipate and like nothing happens? No, it's composted. So when a plant, let's say, dies in the natural realm, so basically on the earth, what happens is it decomposes. It provides nutrients to the land in the grass, or plants new seeds, or it also helps other animals keep living, etc., like by giving them either shelter or giving them food to eat. But basically what happens is that plant, or that, whatever kind of natural matter, dies, and from that it kind of decomposes into the ground, and from there new life emerges. It's not to say, for example, if a oak tree dies in that exact same place, an oak tree is reborn. No, like when the oak tree dies, new plants emerge, whether that's different trees, flowers, you know what I mean? It's like, this is kind of like this energy. And I think I was kind of mentioning this before, is like, now is the time to notice when you have to release something in order to make room and space for something in your life, which is why I love doing these with the crystal readings. Is like, I feel like I really connect with crystals, and considering that message that came up before was the same thing, where it's like, we need to release things that aren't serving us, that we keep trying to hold on to and trying to make work, when we should just acknowledge that, yeah, this isn't working for me, and then you release it, like it dies, you release that, whatever that is, like whether it's a relationship or a mindset, a routine, whatever it is, it's not working for you, that, it's time to release it, and from there, from death, new life arises, just like I was mentioning with the plants that die in the natural realm, or the trees that die, and how new plants and new trees emerge from that space. It's not the exact same thing again. That's kind of like a repetitive cycle. We can see from the earth how sometimes as something has served its cycle, it's not a bad thing. Like when we go through these cycles, I think sometimes when something dies, we feel like we have to have this bitter relationship to it. It's like, no, it doesn't serve who we are, our consciousness now, but it did at the time, and now I understand that I have to move forward, so I have to release it. It was great for me when it was great for me, but I needed to get to the point where it's not feeling good to me, so that I could acknowledge I need to release it and make more time and space towards something new that feels good for me. So just asking yourself what that is, whether that's pertaining to, like I said, work, relationships, mindsets, routines, and ultimately, I'd say like the overall energy I'm getting from all this is to take care of yourself. I think right now, earth energies are going to start feeling burnt out, because we are the grounding element for a lot of people. We are the people that usually are the advice givers. We're usually the people that help people feel centered, and it's time to kind of give that energy back to ourselves, which is a very moon kite type of energy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading, and if you did, feel free to like or comment or tag another earth sign friend who might enjoy this. You're welcome to donate. It's not necessary, but definitely always appreciated. You can do that through checking out the link in my bio. You can also book to get a personal reading at any point, or join one of our courses. We have the tree course going on right now. We're doing a dream workshop soon, and everything's in my bio. You can go check it out. I appreciate your guys' support. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Let me know how it resonates with you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!